Good morning. It's November 12th, early in the morning. Welcome to the Apache County Court. Just want to let you guys know, it's just out there. In my personal experience, and just so you guys know, Judge Whiting likes to violate constitutional rights. I don't believe either he doesn't understand them or he doesn't believe them. And I will point it out to you. And sadly, the judge did not allow this to go to the appellate court because it would have been reversed and remanded. Then they could have had another trial. They don't like following their own court rules. But Judge Whiting, on the egregious side, actually did not allow me to attend some hearings. And the biggest egregious offense was that Judge Whiting excluded me from parts of my jury trial, which I did not waive or give up that right. They love trying to give up your rights, and they do it a lot. And most people don't understand what their rights are. So, and it's a horrible system. It really is, because you should be guaranteed your rights, and then you should, if you waive your rights, you should knowingly and intelligently waive those rights, even if they're waived on your behalf. There's a lot of times that this court plays kangaroo and will have a lawyer who is a friend of the judge or something else that will waive your rights on your behalf. John Lee actually was put in writing he wasn't allowed to waive my rights, and he did anyways. And they held a kangaroo court, and it was funny. Thing lasted 30 seconds, and I wasn't even sitting down because this court didn't want me to say anything because they know I don't shut up, and I'm still not going to shut up. So I'm probably going to have more false charges because ACSO is trying to kill me, and the only way they can kill me is if I'm in a jail cell. So they're going to do that. I'm not doing anything illegal. I don't do drugs or anything else, and I'm actually, because it's personal, but I'm not drinking. It's not because I don't have a crime or I have a problem with drinking. I just don't feel like drinking right now, which is amazing because if I was a drug addict or an alcoholic, there's so many programs to help me out because I'm not. I'm excluded. So it's funny, I could get help and do a lot of different things if I was a drug addict or an alcoholic. But since I'm innocent, and the murder case has now gone away completely, illegally, mind you, because the judge doesn't want to deal with the fact that I pointed out a lot of criminal activities done by the judge and judicial misconduct. So he has decided to ignore a motion after the fact that he had the time frame to rule on the previous motion. So a new motion was filed for the removal of the judge. So then he went back and said, no, we're not going to pay attention to that. We're going to go back to the original one, and we're going to seal all this up because we don't want this out. As you guys see in the other, with the motion that I filed, that he decided to take away from public record. He's a horrible judge, and he doesn't believe in the Constitution, and he can't because I had a jury trial. I was not allowed to be at that jury trial for the entire thing. I was excluded willfully, intentionally by Judge Whiting. He orders when people come up. They didn't bring me up. I was in his custody. He knew where I was at. They refused to have me in the court. I was not a threat. I've never been a problem inmate. I was never a problem child. Ever. I was in minimum custody for first-degree murder. Figure that one out. You don't do that. If you're violent, or I was confrontational with the guards, or I started fights, or anything else, I didn't, and it wasn't there for that reason. But that's the judge. He refused my right to be at my jury trial, and I figured the public has a right to know about it. It's funny that this is the same judge who doesn't believe you have a right to defend your property. This is the same judge that doesn't believe you have a right to defend your premise without using deadly force. Think about that. He wants you to kill people before you have the right to tell people to get off your fucking property. Otherwise, you don't have the right to do that. You have to kill them. That is what the judge ordered. And that's why he had to vacate the charges. Vacate the conviction. Because he didn't want that public. He didn't want everybody to know that he was that stupid. That they were railroading me. That they did not understand the law. Because all you have to do is prove it to the slightest degree that that's what your intention was. I got a notification on my camera. I drove to my bar. I drove to a bar. Okay? And I stopped people from criminally trespassing and doing criminal damage. Because I got video. They hit my trailer. I had to re-weld the back of my my case. It doesn't matter if Arona said he wasn't, because he's on the take. And he is. He didn't want to deal with that. They did do criminal damage to my property, and Apache County doesn't want to prosecute that either, even though it is a crime. And we have them doing that. We have them trespassing. I have them on video bumping my trailer. Now, they didn't do a lot of damage, but they still bumped my trailer. He knocked my back cage off on my food truck, and not knocked it off, but he loosened it. It did do damage. It doesn't matter, and you can see where they went back and they looked at the damage. So it's insane. These people are crazy, and I have video that does it. But because Apache County only wants one narrative, and they were paid for that narrative, I believe that, in my opinion. I do believe, in my opinion, that Judge Whiting doesn't understand the Constitution. Either that, or he was paid to ignore the law, to convict me. We also have jury tampering. I have many other third-party witnesses that have said that the prosecutor's office made a deal with one of the jurors, which is actually really interesting. How is one of your jury members, and then the husband gets arrested a month later, when there's actual allegations that they made a deal to charge and arrest if they found me guilty? There's also other allegations that the judge and the district attorney, Celeste Robertson, both went in and had conversations with the jury outside of the presence. One of the jury members was somebody who had worked with Celeste Robertson. It's such a scam. These guys are such a stacking of juries. There is no fair trial in Apache County. That's why the last couple of cases they've ever done trials on have been overturned on criminal cases. Why is that? Because it's a farce. They're a joke. They lie. They cheat. They use the criminal system to get rid of people. So, just so you know, Judge Whiting does not believe in the Constitution, and I dare him to say something different, because I have a constitutional right to be at my jury trial and at all my hearings. And you guys have excluded me. You had a hearing with John Lee outside of my presence while I was in Springerville dealing with more false charges that ended up getting dismissed. Think about that. So, it's funny. You guys have a victim that you want to be a victim, and that wants to be a victim, and everything she's ever accused me of has been dismissed. Because you guys never had the evidence, you never could do anything, and you had to dismiss it when you offered me disorderly conduct for first-degree murder. How do you go to a Class 1 misdemeanor, and your last plea deal is disorderly conduct? You didn't, it's bad police work, horrible. The Post cannot believe, the Arizona Post, when I submitted them the documents against Joshua Polk, cannot believe this guy is a licensed public peace officer and what he did. Well, it's good, because I'm going to get his qualified immunity removed, and I'm suing the piss out of him. I'm going to fuck this boy hard. I'm taking everything. I'm going after, you took everything from me, I'm going after you. And I'm going to do it legally. I'm not going to be like you. I don't need to lie. I don't need to cheat. I don't need to violate my oaths. I don't need to sell my soul. And that's what you did. That's what Apache County does. Look at Springerville. Round Valley. You guys are all in on it. And we've had one problem with these same people after another. Look at all the drama over the last 10 years. There's been lots of drama at the county level. These people are corrupt. Our district attorney's office was so bad that the state attorney general office had to take it over. And believe it or not, the same shit's going on. It's going on and on and on. We're going to have another attorney general come in and take over the Apache County attorney's office because of the corruption that's in there. They don't know how to be honorable. They hired a child sex offender. He's protected, but he's still a child sex offender. He's in the court. He's just a prosecutor. We got lots of stuff. It's amazing the insanity of Apache County. A judge tells you you don't have a right to be at your own hearing, your own jury trial, and you're not waiving it. You're actually willing to go and show up and be a part of it. You have to have an Apache County Sheriff's Department threaten to electrify you if you speak up in court. Are you serious? If your lawyer doesn't do his job and you decide to help him out and stand up and point things out, are you serious? You're going to get shot. You're going to get shocked by the sheriffs. That's part of the coercion that they do in this county. Threatening, intimidating, and now I got death threats against me by the sheriff's department. It's funny. They won't take a police report. They actually hang up on the phone. The 911 dispatcher's a freaking joke. They all need to be fired. This whole thing needs to be taken over by an outside agency. Apache County has figured it out that they cannot govern themselves. We can't. The corruption is too bad. We have a judge who doesn't believe in the constitutional rights, a defensive premise or defensive property. You don't have that right. In Apache County, according to Judge Whiting, the only way you have that right is if you kill somebody on your property or doing criminal damage to your property. That's not what the rules state. You can use up to deadly force. That's what it says. But let's make stuff up because we don't want that. We don't want that jury instruction. We don't need him to do this. We can have a cop that changes his story and will openly lie. Andrew Arona, he openly lied on testimony. That's how honorable that little fucking piece of shit is. And that's my opinion. He is a piece of shit. You can, or let me rephrase that. Not necessarily is. How do I say this so that way? Fuck it. I believe this guy is fucking a crack job. He took an oath. He swore an oath to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arizona. He was supposedly the investigator, and then he said he supposedly rewatched the video, and he said that the two people on my property reset, that they weren't on the property. Now, watch the video. It's in this post. It's in this on this page. He literally testified to that. That is perjury, a class 4 felony. Why does Apache County avoid that? Why can Judge Whiting tell me I didn't have a right to be at my own court hearing? Well, that's part of the reason why they had to vacate the charges. We're going to go back to a jury trial. I'm not taking a plea deal because, one, the Apache County Sheriff's Department threatens me on a regular basis. And they're all pieces of shit. In my opinion, I have no trust in them. I don't. If you come on my property, I know you're here to kill me. Now, I can't do anything about that. I just have to embrace that fact. But I know the Sheriff's Department is a hit squad. They do not care, and they will pull the trigger. They're fucking dangerous. They all need to be arrested, including Deadman. You won't talk to me. You won't address your problems in your court. I have filed complaints with you guys, and you guys ignore it. You won't take an in-person complaint. I'm the only person in Apache County who cannot go to the Sheriff's Department and file a complaint with Sheriff Deadman about his officers and their conduct. Cannot do it. They give me the form and tell me to mail it in. I don't even know what a crime is. I know, I've got audio on that too. That's fucking awesome. Anyways. So the judge settled my murder case because he didn't want other things coming out. He didn't want the fact that he tried to bully me and coerce me into a plea deal by telling me I didn't have a right to a lawyer. And I didn't know enough at the time to understand that he couldn't do that. He made up to the fact that I couldn't talk to my lawyers. I think I'm still underneath the court order right now that I'm not allowed to talk to my legal defense on criminal charges. because Judge Whiting decided to make an illegal constitutional ruling, and an illegal ruling telling me and doing judicial interference into a lawyer and his client's ability to communicate. Now, if I'm found guilty of contempt for filing that, go ahead. Whatever. I'm still talking with my lawyers, even though you said I couldn't. But you did restrict me back when I was in county jail, because the sheriff's department wouldn't send out my letters, and you can't call your lawyers from there. So you're kind of screwed. And that's the problem. But now I can. But I'm still underneath that court order. That court order says I'm not allowed to talk to my legal representation in a felony case. Are you serious? That's a court order from Judge Whiting. That's what he said from the bench. Told me I was not allowed to talk to my lawyers. He said, you're not going to communicate with them. You need to relax. You cannot talk to them. Holy shit! This is part of what the judge is trying to cover up. He also told me, and he also ruled, I don't know if he ruled, but he allowed a jury trial to start without my presence. If you're a sitting judge, how do you not allow the defendant who's in your custody to be at the jury trial? Are you serious? It's insane. Should this guy be sitting on the judge collecting $186,000 a year? Nope. We need to remove him. He doesn't understand the Constitution. He doesn't understand the rules of criminal procedure. He doesn't even understand the rules of his own court, which are governed and passed by the Arizona state courts. He doesn't even get it. He will willfully write away all of your rights. He's a horrible judge. And maybe we have more of them up here. I have an experience with Judge Whiting. I don't even want to call him that, because he isn't. He shouldn't be. His peers think he's an idiot. But anyways, I'm done. I just want to put that out there. And just so you know, Andrew Arona, Joshua Polk, and John Scruggs will lie on the stand. There's nothing they can say that's truthful. And I'll be posting a report I got that was done as an investigation that was suppressed by Apache County on John Scruggs. He's done a lot of heinous shit. So, you guys have a nice day. God bless. Happy Veterans Day. I just figured I'd let you know that in Apache County, you're not allowed to be at your own jury trial, even if you want to be there. And you don't give up your right to be there. The judge will just take it away from you. Good to know. Great job on being an American judge in America, Judge Whiting, and violating constitutional rights. Way to be a person who stands up for it. Gotta love Apache County.